Hey there, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here, owner of Diversify RX, owner of 2 pharmacies, and owner of the Pharmacy Profit Summit that is coming up in March. If you haven't got your tickets, you should get your tickets now. I've got important stuff to tell you about today about credit card fees. Credit card fees, we all hate them. Not quite as much as the PBMs, but pretty close. And I want to talk to you about appropriate ways where you can pass the credit card fees on to your customers while you still comply with PBM rules and you comply with all the credit card rules as well. So if you are a cash pharmacy, cash only, no PBMs, you really don't need to listen to this. You can use any methodology that you want. If you're a pharmacy that bills PBMs, then it is really important on how you do the credit cards if you want to pass the fees on to your customers, or you don't want to pay the fees, you want your customer or your patients to. There's basically a couple of ways that credit card fees are done. One is the traditional way where the merchant, you, the company, pays the fees. And in that methodology, we don't have to worry about any of the compliance or anything like that because it comes out of your credit card revenue. The second way that's done is a surcharge system where a fee is added to whatever, the product is that the customer or patient is buying, and a fee is added to it. And thereby you are basically getting reimbursed the credit card fee and the customer is paying it. A surcharge program is good for credit cards. It is not good for debit cards, nor FSA or HSA cards. The third way that credit card companies can pass the fees on to the customer is a cash discount program. And so this is where you raise your prices up by 3%, and thereby when you charge the credit card, that 3% is included. Or if somebody wants to pay cash, you give them a cash discount. Now, cash discount programs are not okay by your PBM contract rules because you're not allowed to manipulate the copay in any way, shape, or form. You can't raise it. You can't raise the copay. You can't decrease the copay. You can't manipulate the copay. So you are allowed to charge patients for using a credit card and still be compliant with your PBMs if you do it correctly. So out of those 3 ways, obviously, if you pay the fees, that's fine. Well, not fine for your bottom line, but fine by the PBMs. The second way, a surcharge, is the way that's compliant for PBM contracts. So that way you don't get in trouble with your PBMs. They don't, audit you, take back things, and bad things happen. We all know bad things happen when PBMs find that you didn't do something by the letter of the rule book. So there's a lot of credit card companies out there that have passed the fees on to your customers. I will say that most of them are doing the cash discount program methodology. So if you're talking with a credit card company and you want to do this, and Lord knows, I know you're hurting. I know many people's credit card fees are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is absolutely an area of your business that you should look at optimizing. Absolutely. But you want to talk to the company that is doing the, passing the fees on to the customer, because if their methodology is quote unquote a cash discount program, that will not work for you. That will not work for you in being compliant with PBMs regarding copays for prescriptions. You need what's called a surcharge program. A surcharge program, again, will be compliant with PBM rules because you're not manipulating the copay. You are basically charging an extra fee for the credit card service. And PBM contracts do allow you to charge extra fees for extra services, whether that is a bottle of Tylenol, delivery service, or a credit card service. Like, you are allowed to charge for extra services that you deliver to your patients, and one of those is credit card fees. So you can do a surcharge program. You cannot do a cash discount program. I know this may sound like we're splitting hairs, and yes, we are. Like, ultimately, the money is the same. The patient is paying the same, but the methodology is important because I want you to be compliant with the PBM, compliant with all of Visa, MasterCard, and your processor's rules. I want you to be compliant everywhere. I don't want you to get in trouble and lose any money. But a lot of times these credit card companies, they're not really explaining these differences to you. One, they don't know PBM rules. Like, they sell credit card, services to any and all companies. Most other companies are cash type businesses. They don't have, these payer contracts that, they need to dot every I and cross every T in order to not get in trouble or get your money clawed back. So I'm educating you, the pharmacy owner, that you need to ask these questions. You need to ask, is it a surcharge program or is it a cash discount program? If they say it's a cash discount program, my recommendation, although it hurts, is to not do that, because it's not compliant with the PBMs. They could come back after you, and that's much more devastating than choosing the right path as I look at it. So my recommendation is to not do a cash discount program, but you still can do the surcharge program. It's not going to save you as much money because, again, you can't do surcharges for debit cards, and you cannot do surcharges for FSA or HSA cards. But it will help offset some of the cost of the people who use credit cards. You could also encourage credit card use. If you, I was talking with a credit card company today, and his experience was that a lot more people used debit cards. And in my experience in my pharmacies, I have a lot more people that use credit cards. So you look at your own, balance sheet, if you will, of the credit card statement of how many people use credit cards and how many people use debit cards. It's going to save you some money. It won't be as much as the cash discount program because that's basically applicable across all payment types. Doesn't matter what payment types. But again, the cash discount program that's offered by credit card payment processors is not compliant with your PBM contracts. However, the surcharge program is. So, I just wanted to give some of that clarity. Nothing, a lot of payment processors, the good payment processors will offer you choices. Will offer you, which program you want to participate in. And there are some really good ones out there. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do this on an outside system. Your PMS software, most of them are all locked into contracts, whether it's Heartland or WorldPay or whomever. They don't offer these solutions natively. So you'll have to get the external terminal. That's really the only way to do it. If you want to do these, if you want to stop paying that. A lot of these companies can also give you much better rates. So even if you want to continue to pay the credit card fees, you can get much better rates. I've had multiple members that I've looked at their credit card statements. One was paying 10%. That happens, like how in the world you get to 10%? Whenever there's flat rate charges, and if you have really small credit card amounts, the percentage of those fees get bigger because you're charging a little, but you're still paying a lot as a flat rate. So, 10% is not unheard of, even though their quote unquote rate might be 3%. One was 8%. One was 6%. Like it definitely varies all over the board. So get out your credit card statement, do your, total fees that they charge, your total charged amount, and then you can figure out the math. Another thing with pharmacies and Visa and MasterCard, this is not from the payment processors. This is not from like, the credit card company that you are working with. This comes from Visa and MasterCard. Pharmacies are considered high risk. Why? I don't agree with their sentiment. They think pharmacies, there's a higher likelihood of illegal activity. Have they looked at pharmacy laws lately? Like pharmacies are like the most regulated. You're less likely to have illegal activities at a licensed pharmacy. Of course, they don't take the fact that you're a licensed pharmacy into account at all. They want you to be NABP, legit script, which I think is all baloney and bullshit, in my opinion. I am a licensed pharmacy, licensed by the Board of Pharmacy in my state. That should be good enough, but that's a whole other soapbox for another day. So you will get surcharges on your credit card transactions because you are considered high risk. There's nothing you can do about that. Some of them with Visa, you can get your annual fees for Visa eliminated if you do go through NABP or legit script certification, but you still have the per transaction higher rate or additional fee because you're in a high risk business. So sorry to get the bad news on that, but that's just the way that it is. I hate it. You hate it. We all hate it. I'm not sure anything we can do about it. But that's kind of the landscape that we're in. So I am all for putting the burden on the customers. So many of us, I'm a customer. we're paying for extra at, when you pay your taxes with the government website, when you pay your water bill, when you go get your brakes fixed. Like, so many companies now are passing on the fee. So I think it's becoming much more normal. The pharmacies that I know that have done this, they haven't had any issues from their patients. I know a lot of you worry, like, what is my patient's going to say? But frankly, it's just becoming so common with a lot of other small businesses and even big businesses that it's almost a non-thought, like it's just normal now. However, we as a pharmacy need to be compliant with PBM contracts. We all know what happens when you're not compliant with PBM contracts. You will lose everything. They will claw it all back. You might lose contracts. You might get, lots of other attention that you don't want from them. So if you want to pass the fees onto your credit cards, you can do that. Just make sure that it is a surcharge program, not a cash discount program, and you will be A-okay. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you've already, maybe signed up with a new company and you find out that it's a cash discount program, don't freak out. One, call them and ask if they have a surcharge program that you can just switch to. If not, you might have to change credit card processors again. I know some of you are like, I don't care. I'm just going to do this. I need to save money now. I totally get it. You're drowning and you're looking for a life preserver. Just know that you're putting yourself at risk. That's all. I just want you to make an informed decision that if you do the cash discount program, you might be putting yourself at risk with PBMs. And it sounds kind of crazy to say that the PBMs would ever look at your credit card transactions. But if you've been audited recently, they're asking for bank statements, they're asking for canceled checks. It is not too far off that they're going to ask for credit card processing information. So I just want to inform you, you make good decisions, don't get in trouble. And if you have any questions or comments, pop them down below. And don't forget, if you don't have your Pharmacy Profit Summit ticket, get it now. We are down to like less than somewhere around 60 tickets left. So if you want your seat, grab it, pharmacyprofitsummit.com. And hopefully I'll see you in March 23rd and 24th in Dallas. And hopefully this is helpful for you with your credit card. So thank you so much. And until next time, bye-bye.